The Kremlin is a pretty good landmark. But do you remember the last time you saw a Rus player build one? Well, I don't, until today. The build I'm about to show you is not only viable on these two maps, it's in my opinion much better than the Golden Gate. The reason is food spawns really close to your base, which makes it so the Kremlin can protect it very effectively, while still placing it relatively close to your TC. If you do this, you will get a much faster castle timing, since we don't have to research professional scouts, and still be able to place 2 military buildings as you age up, and have enough wood to immediately place a monastery. Now let's get into the build. First, send all your villagers to sheep. One of those should build a hunting cabin. Then set your rally point to sheep until you have 12 villagers. Meanwhile, use your main scout to head toward your enemy's base and queue 2 additional scouts from your hunting cabin, for a total of 3. If you would like to know more about where to send these scouts and what to do with them, I recommend watching my previous Rus video, where I go more in depth on this topic. I will leave a link in the description. After you get to 12 on food, set your rally point to the straggler tree. You can keep the rally point on wood for the rest of the game. By this point, at least one of your scouts should have come back. Send it to the nearest boar on the map. Once you're about to age up, take 8 of your food villagers and send them to a point close to the boar, and start building the Kremlin. The Kremlin doesn't need to be that close to the boar. What we want is for its influence to also reach the woodline, and, if possible, protect other resources, like the gold vein. When the Kremlin is almost done, use the scout near the boar to attack it and pull it closer to the Kremlin. You can also use the scout to tank for your villagers. Now we have 8 villagers on board before the 4-minute mark, protected by a Kremlin with exactly 8 garrison spots, in case you get attacked. You can also use one of your scouts to push these 3 deer nearby to your TC. Now that your food economy is set up, look at your wood villagers. Once you have 50 wood, take 5 villagers currently on wood and send them to build a mining camp on your gold. When you gather another 50 wood with the new villagers coming out of your TC, build a lumber camp within the Kremlin's influence for an extra 20% gather speed. By around this time, you should have enough resources to age up. Do it with the 4 villagers on food under your TC and 4 more from the woodline. Next, transfer your 5 gold villagers to the woodline. As soon as you reach 300 wood, build 2 archery ranges. Don't forget to research the first wood upgrade as soon as you have the gold. Once you have aged up, keep 5 villagers on the deer from the high trade house, and send the other 3 back to the woodline. Take a moment to look at all the food you have. We still haven't touched any of our sheep, plus we have berries and deer still protected behind our Kremlin. This is without having to research professional scouts, and with a much faster castle timing. From here, start pumping horse archers. Build a monastery to start collecting relics and use your extra gold for economic and blacksmith upgrades. Again, if you want a more in-depth info on what to do from here, check out my previous Rus video. Now, for Enlightened Horizon, the build changes a little, so let's take a look. Instead of building the hunting cabin with just 1 villager, build it with 3 or 4 villagers. Then set your rally point to food. The reason we do this is because this map often sees Dark Age barracks to torch the wolf den and age up without mining gold. In some cases, people will even send their spears to contest your wolf den. However, if we build our hunting cabin quickly and start producing scouts faster than they can build spearmen, we can torch down the wolf den before they can contest it. So like I said, queue 2 scouts from the hunting cabin, and this time send them to your merchant camp. Once they capture it, send them to the wolf den. Your main scout should follow this path to gather as many sheep as possible. When it reaches the top of the map, go down this side and find the wolf's den just south of the neutral market. Start hitting it as soon as you find it, and position your scout near the den's entrance. When the wolves come out, torch it a few more times, then finish scouting your side of the map. The other 2 scouts can spread the opponent deer and capture the abandoned outpost. The rest of the build is almost the same. Once you reach 12 on food, set your rally point to wood, and leave it here for the rest of the game. When you're about to age up, send 8 villagers to build the Kremlin in this spot. Its influence will reach the woodline near your TC, and it will also protect the deer that always spawns in the back of your base. You can also use one of your scouts to push the deer closer to your villagers. Because we torched the wolves den, if we follow the previous build exactly from here, you will float some gold before aging up, just like I did here. To avoid this, instead of mining with 5 villagers, mine gold with just 3 and send the other 2 to food. From this point, you will hit castle age before 8 minutes, just like we did in the previous build, and in some cases you might even get there as fast as 7:20, which is extremely quick. You will also have the Kremlin protecting not just your deer, but all the resources that spawn in the back of your base. Once your deer runs out, you should already have enough army to contest the map. If that's the case, send your 8 villagers to the nearest war, and don't forget to construct a wooden fortress so you can garrison all 8 in case of a raid. So this game I'm up against a Lancaster player. I start just as I mentioned in the build, 4 villagers to build a hunting cabin so I can get scouts faster, and the rest to gather food and build a house. My opponent decides to go Dark Age Barracks, which is a good play, and immediately captures his merchant camp with a villager. Instead of burning his wolf den, however, he goes toward my merchant camp, which is currently being captured by my 2 scouts. Once I see this, I send them to burn my wolf den before he can deny it. At around 2:20, I already have enough resources to age up, so I send 8 villagers to build my Kremlin to protect my back deer before he can send his spears to deny them. He's occupied capturing my merchant camp, so he doesn't have time to do anything about it. Now, he plans to go for my wolf den, assuming there's no way I can deny it with just scouts. But to his surprise, I already burned it long ago. So now he has to run all the way back to his own wolf den. This is actually terrible for him, because his age up gets incredibly delayed. By 3:30, I'm already in feudal age, while he still hasn't even started burning down his own den to age up. As I mentioned in the build order, you can use your scouts to push your deer toward the Kremlin, and then use them for other things like recapturing your merchant camp. He also uses his spears to push deer toward his base, and is starting to build his own manors. These are pretty late, however, due to his delayed feudal timing, and I'm already aging up to castle age. As soon as I get there, I start pumping out horse archers and building my monastery. I think he didn't expect me to age up so quickly, because he tries to wall himself off at the last moment, but I use my scout to block the wall using hold position. He gets my scout with his villagers, but I take down 2 of them with my horse archers, and now I can deny his gold, forcing him to run all the way to his back gold. Meanwhile, I'm gathering all the relics on the map and rotating to this side to block his only path to outside resources. At this point, I go for the boar, but he had that spearman right there, so now he knows my villagers are gathering food in that area. Because I went up so much faster and my horse archers gave me so much map control, I've already gathered all 5 relics and plan to keep applying pressure at the front of his base. Since he saw my foot villagers, he starts harassing them with cavalry, and I spot a frontal attack coming, so I send all my army to block it. He engages, but up to his point, he hadn't seen that I started transitioning into horsemen to tank for my horse archers, so his hovelers aren't able to reach my backline. I keep poking at the front of his base with my horse archers while my horsemen defend my food. Since the gold in his base is exhausted, you can see his gold income is basically 0 now. I know he's starving for gold, so I start checking all the outside gold veins with my units to see where he will go next. He sends his hovelers to raid the back of my base, but those are easily handled by a few knights. Now that I know he's behind in both economy and army, I take the opportunity to break his front wall and overrun him with units. Because I'm using horsemen instead of knights, his own knights don't benefit from the Color of SS upgrade, and my horse archers clean up his front line. Then my horsemen dive his backline. He loses that fight pretty badly and calls GG right there. And that's pretty much it. I know this was a shorter video, but I actually went away on a vacation trip and I didn't have enough time to record matches and analyze them for you guys. Next upload, we'll be back with the longer format videos. And with that, thanks again for watching this far, and I'll see you in the next one.